Hello, everyone, and welcome to Health for Naija podcast. Today, I have an incredible guest with me. I'm so happy to welcome Dr. Chiagozie Fawole. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be on here. I think we're about to have a blast.
Yes, you're going to have a great time. So I'm going to give an intro. Dr. Fawole is a pediatric anesthesiologist and real estate investor. She got started investing in real estate during residency and built her portfolio using traditional and creative strategies. She now helps other physicians run high income into high net worth using short-term rentals on her SavvyDocs in real estate platform. Welcome. This is fantastic. This is beautiful. So today we're going to talk about wealth as a wellness strategy. So just tell us why you decided to go into real estate. I mean, you're a pediatric anesthesiologist. That is big. So tell me how and why you went into real estate.
So real estate, okay, so this kind of takes me a little way back. It was a couple of years ago while I was still expecting my first daughter. She's now 7 years old. But I was literally sitting on the couch watching TV alone in the house, and I saw these guys flipping houses on TV turn a profit of $60,000 in one episode. And I was like, wait, what? what are we
just
doing
happened?
Here? Wait, what?
What just happened?
At the time I was a resident, right? And so that was my entire annual salary. And I was like, these guys just made my entire annual salary in one episode, like in one. I mean, at the time, I figured, okay, maybe a 3-month window was their project or whatever, but it was my entire annual salary. So I said, wait, they didn't have to take any call. They didn't have to, miss out on, kids' parties, kids' events, whatever. I mean, I was expecting at the time. So that really got my mind thinking that while we're here, I love medicine, right? But while we're here, slugging it away, in the ORs, in the hospital or whatever, there are people out there who did not have to go through as much training as we did, who are making our entire annual salary in one flip. So that definitely got me hooked. And then it proceeded to just learning. Ended up doing my very first deal, like maybe a year and a half later. That was a rehab deal, like 300 miles away. That one was more of an education. And then the next one was a 12-unit apartment complex that we were able to buy. I was still a resident. But we were able to get that deal with only $900 out of our own pockets. And that was when I knew, okay, we're onto something. We're definitely building this. We're definitely working on this. Yeah.
That's an incredible story. And it takes a lot of courage because I can't even imagine. We're coming from medical background of, reading and taking care of patients. So it's a completely different mindset shift, isn't it?
Absolutely is. Mm-hmm. Absolutely is. At the time, I literally turned my whole, how to just transform your mind and renew your mind. That was exactly what happened. Because then as I was driving to work in the morning, my drive was a 24-minute drive. I would have either a podcast or a book going in the car. On my way back home, it was like an hour and a half. This was in Brooklyn. So like in the evenings, there was traffic. Right. So I'll use traffic as my way to sort of binge even more on books. So that year and a half that I said was in between when I first got this inspiration to actually doing that first deal, it was almost like being kind of grounded and rooted just in the real estate world. Like I was on forums and all of that, just learning. And eventually when the opportunity arose, I was actually able to act on what I had gotten. Yeah.
So you just mentioned 2 points that are great takeaways. After learning, then you got to act.
Oh, yeah.
Because a lot of people just read about things they want to do, investments, and they don't take that next step, which is acting, which takes a lot of courage. It's not easy to do those things. I bought a house and I lost my house. So I understand the difficulties. Yes, it's not easy to get into real estate. It takes a lot. And I think there has to be an element of luck as well.
So it's definitely, there's definitely a place of finding opportunity, but there's also a place of taking opportunity. And I tell people, because people come to me for like learning how to invest in real estate and stuff like that, and I say, listen, you got to be in the market, right? Because sometimes people want to know, like, oh, what's the best investment? What's this? What? And I'm like, there is no way to know when that luck appears if you're not already working on it, right? And this may be a tiny bit of a segue, but like we found a house in December last year. I found it at like 1:30 a.m. I reached out to my realtor. We were able to actually put it under contract in a day. But this was while the market was still like raging hot. And I said, we would not have found this house. This was like a house that was just built 18 months ago, looks beautiful, looks brand new, way below market value at the time, at least in my opinion. But we would not have found it if we were not in the game already. So yes, there's a bit of so-called luck to it, but the luck doesn't happen if you're just sitting out, lounging on the beach. You know what I'm saying? Like, you actually have to be in there in the game.
Yes, you have to be proactive in a way, and then wait to grab those opportunities once they come your way. And I think what you're doing is very important in terms of educating physicians, because traditionally, physicians are really they're really bad investors. They're really bad investors.
Stereotype. That's the stereotype. That's the mindset that that I'm definitely trying to break, because people have told us quite a bit that we are bad investors. Okay. And we have also accepted that we are bad investors. So it's one thing when somebody brands you some way, and another thing when you actually accept it. And so we hand all our money to, like, syndicators. And I have nothing against syndicators. Matter of fact, I may be starting mine soon. But it's one thing to invest in somebody else's deal because it's a good deal. It's a different thing to invest in somebody else's deal because you feel that you can't. And that's like my personal mission.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it from the perspective of physicians in Nigeria, for instance. I grew up in Nigeria. I spent my formative years there. And we knew of doctors who in their heydays did really well, but just focused on medicine. But as they retired without having an active pension, a lot of them struggled financially. We know a lot of instances of this happening. So I think this is great that you're empowering doctors to take charge and look for other sources of income. You mentioned that physician burnout is real, and having that financial stability actually reduces physician burnout, because part of the factors that contribute to physician burnout is the financial stress.
Oh, yeah.
So what are the simple steps, for instance, can someone take to start to build wealth with wellness in mind?
Yeah. So for me, it's actually a story that happened, I'll say, last year. So prior to last year, my whole picture was like, oh yeah, let's build generational wealth. Let's rack up as many properties as we can. Property man, just buy the property, hand it to a property manager. Don't even deal with the tenants and termites, whatever. Just build. And then last year, I started working on short-term rentals. So short-term rentals, for those of you who aren't as familiar with the lingo, they're simply, like Airbnb, like almost like the new hotels, if you may, right? So instead of people staying in hotels, they stay in homes, and you basically rent out your home. Instead of renting it out for a year with a lease, you rent it out to them 1 night, 2 nights, 3 nights, 7 nights, just, out on vacation. So I began this last year, but I was doing it down in Dallas. And then one day I was driving home from work. I wasn't driving home from work. I was leaving work. And my colleague, who happened to have been leaving at the same time, offered me a ride. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. So as we were driving home, just before we pulled into my driveway, she mentioned that, that she had a lake house. And I was like, wait, where? So of course, my mind kind of perked up thinking, okay, she has a lake house that she's not, she had been renting it out just kind of on her own by word of mouth, $1,000 a night. I was like, wait, what? On her own, $1,000 a night, put this thing on Airbnb or whatever, or all these other platforms, and it'll blow up. So I asked her for details about it to see if I could help her get it set up. And so, we arranged, and then we took the family, because she was like, yeah, take the family with you, go see it. I was like, oh, okay. I guess my business trip would turn into a family trip.
Right.
I was not thinking anything family, whatever. So we got over there, nice house, great location, lakefront. But then when I just saw how relaxing, that I wasn't a vacation person. Okay, let's get, I was not. But then like 2 days in that property, I was like, whoa, we need this in our lives. Like
the soft life. We need the soft life.
Seriously.
Yes.
We sat in front of the huge windows, literally just watching the lake for hours.
Wow.
And I was like, wait, what? We need to build this into our plan somehow. And at the time, it wasn't like I had like a ton of cash just sitting around waiting for the next deal to happen. But I put it on my vision board and I was like, we're getting a lake house soon. So my next vision board that I made, it happens to have been right before I usually create my vision board for the year. I put lake house on there. I had the picture, I had the lake, it was like, we are gonna spend time creating like family experiences with, this thing. And I kid you not, this was October. We had closed on our lake house by January. Was it January or February?
Amazing.
Last week of January.
Amazing. Amazing. So let me take you back to this vision board because because I've talked about vision board before, and I think it's a great concept. So how do you have this vision board where everyone in the family can see it? Do you paste it on the door on your way out the house? Where do you put it in the kitchen? Where is this vision board? Where do you put this vision board?
I wish I had it right here, but it's in my bedroom.
Okay.
I've had it in different places in my bedroom. I've had it right next to my head, so that literally I turn my head and I see my vision board. Okay. But right now I have it like on my dresser, which is like across from the bed. So I can kind of see it, but it's a bit, I can see the whole thing just like in front of me.
Okay, so hold that thought. It reminds me of biochemistry class in medical school. I remember this biochemistry class and how we had to learn those different formulas. And I literally wrote the formulas on the wall by my bed, because every morning you get up and you look at the formula until it becomes second nature. So this vision board has to be somewhere where once you wake up, you're looking at your vision board. And what happens with the vision board is that your brain starts to align towards that vision. You find yourself doing things subconsciously to achieve those goals. So I have my own vision board, I would say vision papers, because I tend to write.
Right.
But I need to add pictures, and really make it robust. So I think this is absolutely wonderful. Congratulations on your lake house.
Oh, thank you. Let me tell you something freaky that not freaky, but like crazy, that really burned into my head, the power of vision board. Not the vision board itself. The board itself is not the power. It's actually just like what happens in your head, right?
Okay.
Pandemic. This was the first vision board actually that I made. This was back in 2019, going 2020. I put a picture on my board, and it was supposed to be suggestive that, our family at large will be at peace, right? So I put a picture of my sister and her husband with us to show the extended family that it wouldn't just be us, but that we'll have people around us.
Yeah.
When the pandemic hit, my sister and her husband actually came and lived with us for 6 months.
Wow, are you serious? That is powerful.
That was when I knew. I said, okay, whatever you do not want, do not put on the board. Like, I mean, it was crazy. And their coming to our house was the light in the pandemic. Like, them being with us ended up being such a gem. But it made me realize that when you have a vision, you write the vision.
Right.
You basically you make it plain. You put it just out there. Let people actually see that vision. It's crazy what it does.
I honestly, not to, change the topic or anything, this is all interrelated. Today we're talking about wealth as a wellness strategy. And writing the vision is so important, I
Oh,
tell
yes.
you, because even in my journey here, creating this podcast, I started this podcast last year. And I remember writing that I wanted to start getting paid to do public speaking because prior to last year, I used to do public speaking events and not get paid.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell you, once the pandemic hit, it became an opportunity to provide health education.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing those sessions, I actually got paid to do the work. So, but it was a vision that I had written down for myself. And all it said, I just wrote it down. It says, get paid to speak publicly. That's all I wrote. That's all I wrote. And then I forgot
crazy.
about it. I just wrote it. But, and then one day I went back. I said, wait a second. This is crazy. So I really, and it's biblical. It's biblical. Yeah, it says write the vision. It's biblical.
Yeah.
So the work you're doing it's really amazing. So give us some more information how to start. Somebody like me now, I'm interested in real estate, but that fear is there because I bought a house before and I lost it. So there's really a lot of fear around buying again, because when you buy property, you don't know if it's going to be well built. And at the time, the subprime mortgage mess, people were giving loans that they couldn't afford, and the rates were just astronomical. People could not refinance. So a lot of people walked away from homes because they were really struggling to keep up with payments. And, that happened to me. So I lost my home. And so trying to get back in, it is really quite scary.
Yeah.
So, okay, so if it's someone like me now, I want to get into do what you're doing. I want to do what you're doing.
Yeah.
Just give me some few steps, and maybe somebody listening in the audience, they want to get into this. Maybe their families have struggled with poverty, and real estate is a great way to really add value. People must always have a place to stay. They must always have a roof, right, over their head. So real estate, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong.
Yeah, there's a framework that I've started using to actually talk about this wellness and wealth, okay? And it's called the Rich Life Framework. It is an acronym. The rich part is an acronym that stands for raise your expectations, okay? Install your income engine, create remarkable experiences, and then harvest the equity and basically do it again. That's the rich, but I'll break it all down. But the life part, the rich life part, is that reminder that everything that you're doing needs to add to your life. It needs to either create income that can pay for life experiences, or create income that can buy you time that you can now actually take walks with your kids. But that the life part should not be left out of the equation. So going back to the acronym, the R part is raise your expectations, okay? One of the things that I find that really crushes us a lot, medicine, or even if you aren't in medicine, is just feeling that like this stuff is not for people like me.
Right.
Okay. Like thinking, it's only for rich people. It's only for, name the complexion type of people. Right. It's only for them. People like me don't do stuff like this. But when you start to actually look around and be intentional about seeking out people who are like you, doing the kinds of things that you are dreaming of, anticipating, wanting to do, wishing, then your expectation level starts to kind of grow. Okay. For me, it was, we went to a lake house and I thought, enjoyment. Like, I don't have two heads. We can figure this out, right?
Right.
And so that raising expectations now makes you now start looking out to see, okay, where are the opportunities that I can even tap into? Okay. Sometimes raising expectation may mean listening to podcasts. When you listen to podcasts, other people's podcasts, now you now hear, you too can buy real estate. Oh my goodness. Okay, now how can I? Raising expectation means sitting in rooms where people who are doing this are sitting. For example, sometime in October, I'm going to be putting together like an event for physicians who want to do, stuff like that. But like basically just like immersing yourself in places that help you to start kind of thinking bigger than where you originally were. And then of course, the I part is installing your income engine. Okay, so there's a whole process: buying the house, setting things up, making sure that you buy in a place that people will want to, rent and build and stuff like that. Right now, I'm heavily focused on short-term rentals because there's you can build a lot of wellness into that. But you can basically buy a house in a place where you would normally go on vacation, right? Yes. And now, instead of you having to pay for your trips, your guests are now the ones filling up, basically paying for the house. Yes. Like this past week, we stayed at the lake house, but I can tell you our mortgage for that house is paid for months. Right. Because the rest of the month is full. It's full of guests. Okay, so you rent it out in addition to, so that's actually brilliant. So what did you do it as an LLC? Do you have it as an LLC? So this particular one is not in an LLC. Our other properties are, but the way that we funded this deal, so usually regular rental property you can get for like 25% down, which is a bit much when you get into this price range. But with the short-term rentals, you're actually able to get them for 10% down if you own them as a second home. Oh, okay. So basically, if you build it in that you will spend time at the house, that you will enjoy the property that you bought, then you can get it for 10% down. Okay. Listen, I don't mind staying at the lake house for 10 days just to get it for 10% down. But many people don't know this. No, I didn't know this. This is news to me. So how about property managing? Because people don't want to deal with, the rental issues. And then property managers, do you use property managers? Do you manage your own? Yeah, so when we had just the regular rentals with regular tenants, I did not want to touch those properties with the 10-foot pole. I liked buying them. I liked the numbers part, but when it came to dealing with tenants, it's not my favorite thing. Yes. But with the short-term rentals, which is what I focus on now, everything is done through your phone. Okay. You set it up, you hire a housekeeper, you basically have a housekeeper on speed dial if you may. Yes. You have automations that tell the housekeeper when the guests are coming and guests are going. And literally, the guests leave, the housekeepers see the notification, they come, they clean. The only thing, and I have automations that send my guests the check-in code, send them even a morning message saying, oh, how has your stay been for the past night or whatever, and they think it's me sending it, but they don't know it's my automation, and they respond, oh my goodness, it's been so beautiful, whatever, we'll let you know if there's a problem. Don't you love automation? Technology is amazing, I tell you. Yeah, so yeah, it's like people think it's going to be a ton of work. You spend some time to set it up, but hey, you're trying to install your moneymaker, right? But then there are automations that can make it even less of hassle than even the long-term rentals, I would have to say. That's incredible. So to answer your question, you don't necessarily need a property manager. You just need to build the systems, and it's almost takes care of itself. You have to check in, you have to keep up, but it's not as crazy a thing as many people kind of like imagine it to be. Yeah. This has been really wonderful. I want to thank you so much. So do you do coaching for people like me who are fearful of buying property? Do you do coaching? Oh yeah, so I run the SavvyDocs in real estate platform. It is a platform really dedicated to helping other physicians get started investing in rental property, now particularly short-term rentals, helping them to build meaningful income in meaningful time and turn that high income that people say that they have into high net worth, into like actual wealth generating assets. Yes. Okay, so we can find, what's your Instagram handle? So Instagram will be at SavvyDocs, so SavvyDocs. One of the easiest ways actually to find us, we have a website called SavvyDoctors.co, and from our website you see free trainings. You see the link to our free Facebook group, where you could basically come hang out with us. And when you decide, you can come work with us.
Okay, so I will put that in the show notes.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to the podcast or watching YouTube, you can check out the show notes, and I'll have the links to Dr. Fawole's website and Instagram handle. So just before we head out, so can you just share one pearl? Well, I think your pearl would probably be the vision board. So can you just share, yes, or if you have another pearl with the audience, I like to give the audience a little something different. Yes.
So let me say this to help people kind of raise their expectations. Okay. When you decide that you want to start real estate, have it in mind that your houses can start giving birth to houses. Okay. This house that I'm sitting in right now paid for the other house because of the equity we're able to grow in it. Okay. So just to kind of raise your expectations, don't think that the journey has to be one house to 15 houses, all with your muscle. Sometimes the market rises, you can pull equity, turn it into another house, and then your houses start giving birth to houses when your equity grows.
Love it. Love it. There's a way the yeast in the lab, in the microbiology lab, the yeast buds and creates other yeast. So you could take the equity from your house and then turn it into more houses. This has really been wonderful. I think this is like a teaser. Definitely, if you want to get more information, visit Dr. Fawole's website at SavvyDoctors.co and check out her Instagram at SavvyDocs. And I really want to thank you so much, Dr. Fawole, for sharing this information with us. I've learned a lot, honestly. I'm definitely going to take part in your coaching and your other programs. I want to thank you for taking this time out to talk to me today and talk so our audience can benefit from this podcast.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. And have a wonderful day.
You too. You too.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.